Let's start simple. In the mountains of Tibet, Nepal, and Bhutan, herders have bred yaks with domestic cattle for centuries to get something called a tzo. Yaks are built for altitude, thick coats, huge lungs, total disregard for cold, but they're stubborn and hard to handle. Cattle are easy to manage but can't survive above a certain altitude. Cross them, and you get an animal that's stronger and hardier than a cow, but easier to work with than a yak. Like most hybrids between distantly related species, male Dizio are usually sterile, but the females often aren't, which has made this one of the most practical hybrid animals on Earth. It's been hiding in plain sight at 14,000 feet for hundreds of years. Now picture trying to do this on purpose, in a lab, with two animals that physically can't mate. That's exactly what happened in Dubai in the late 1990s. Camels and llamas are related, same camelid family, but a camel can weigh 6 times more than a llama, so mating naturally isn't really an option. Scientists at a reproduction research center did it with artificial insemination instead, and the result was called a Cama. It came out looking mostly like a llama, short legs, no hump, but with a camel's tail, ears, and stronger build. Only a handful have ever been born, purely for research into camelid fertility, not for farming. There's a real animal that exists today that is, biologically, half desert pack animal and half Indian mountain animal. And it only exists because someone in a lab decided to try. Compare that to what happens completely by accident in the ocean. In 1985, a marine park in Hawaii had a false killer whale and a bottlenose dolphin sharing a tank. Despite the name, a false killer whale isn't a whale at all. It's a large species of dolphin. So when the two interbred, the result, a calf nicknamed Kekaimalu, was actually a hybrid between two different dolphin species, not a whale and a dolphin like most people assume. She survived to adulthood and has even had calves of her own, proving this wasn't a biological dead end. Most interspecies hybrids don't get that far. This one did. And if you think that's strange, here's a hybrid humans were breeding on purpose 4,500 years ago, before horses were even domesticated in that part of the world. Around 2,500 BCE, in what's now Syria, the elite of early Mesopotamia bred domestic donkeys with wild Syrian asses called onagers to create an animal called a Kunga. Onagers couldn't be tamed directly, too aggressive, too fast, but crossing them with donkeys produced something bigger, faster, and more powerful than either parent, perfect for pulling royal chariots and war wagons. The catch, like mules, Kunga were almost always infertile, so every single one had to be bred fresh by capturing wild onagers, which made them incredibly expensive. Basically, a luxury war machine only royalty could afford. For decades, this was just a theory based on ancient artwork. Then in 2022, researchers analyzed ancient DNA from buried remains and confirmed it. The Kunga was real, possibly the oldest deliberately engineered hybrid animal in human history. But even that wasn't the most famous accident. In 2006, a hunter in the Canadian Arctic shot what he thought was an unusually strange-looking polar bear. White fur, but with brown patches and an odd head shape. DNA testing confirmed it. A hybrid between a grizzly bear and a polar bear, sometimes called a Pizzly or growler bear. This wasn't captive or staged. It happened naturally because melting sea ice is pushing polar bears further inland, straight into grizzly territory, more than ever before. Since then, second-generation hybrids have been confirmed too, meaning these animals aren't just surviving, they're reproducing. It's one of the only hybrids on this list that's becoming more common every single year, driven entirely by a changing climate. Which brings us back to the one we opened with. The one that still doesn't have a clear explanation.